ready, right? Okay, let's do it. First, I would like to say thank you guys for coming. What an amazing event. You know, I remember first time I heard about this event, I got so excited because of, you know, what it represents. And I'm here to host of, you know, to represent actually Tenkil Museum, and I'm going to tell you guys about what about that museum when I talk more. But you know, this is my second time actually coming to Frankfurt, and every time I come here, it's been an amazing experience. People are very warm, very nice people, and I had so much fun. So I'm definitely one of my favorite cities to visit. But you know, the reason I'm here today is amplify and actually bring awareness about some of the violations that are happening around the world. Especially, you know, I'm born in Switzerland, but I'm from Turkey. So I obviously, like everyone, many people here, I consider Turkey as my home country. But you know, my whole life I only focus on basketball. You know, I love playing basketball. I love having fun with my teammates. I love going out there and just competing. Actually, you know, competing with my teammates. You know, and then the time goes on. I remember for the first time I started to talk about some of the problems and some of the human rights violations that are happening in my home country, Turkey. I remember it was, you know, back in 2013, for the first time ever, I started to talk about the problems. I remember there was a big corruption scandal happening in Turkey, and President Erdogan and some of his family members and actually some of the members of the parliament were involved in it. And then after that, right after that, the news came out, you know, President Erdogan started to go out there and actually put innocent people in jail who actually caught him. I'm talking about the police and prosecutors and lawyers and judges and stuff. And these were innocent people. And after that, he started to go around and shutting down media outlets. And that shows that there is no freedom of speech in the country. I remember, you know, he was going around and shutting down news outlets and, you know, magazines or newspapers or channels, and that was the first time. That was the first time I actually said something about it. You know, as an NBA player, I wasn't actually that well educated, but I put a tweet out there because I don't care who you are, but if you are fighting against the free media, I'm gonna say something about it. And I put a similar tweet out there, and because of the NBA platform, it became a conversation in the United States and all over the world. And I said to myself, I remember, even one single tweet can affect this much. From now on, I'm going to start, you know, paying attention about what's going on in my country more and more. And then I remember a lot of my teammates and stuff, you know, were going out, hanging out, having fun and stuff. I was going back to my house, and I started to study about what's going on, about the relationship between, you know, the things that are going on in the Middle East, the relationship between America and Turkey, what is happening over there. And the more I studied, the more, you know, the news outlets started to give me a big platform. And I went out there and I talked about it. You know, I talk about it like the way it is. And then I remember the things that I talk about really affected me and my family. My dad was a professor. He was a scientist. He got fired from his job. You know, my sister actually was going to school for medical school for 6 years. She still cannot find a job. I think the saddest one was my little brother, because obviously he was playing basketball and he wanted to be like his big brother. And you know, he was getting kicked out in every team just because of the same last name. So they were getting affected so much they had to put a statement out there and saying we are disowning Enes publicly. The letter is still actually out there. And then after that, Turkish government didn't believe that. You know, they sent police to my house in Turkey, and they raided the whole house, and they took every electronics away, phones, computers, laptops, iPads, because they wanted to see if I am still in contact with my family or not. They couldn't find no evidence because I was not actually in contact with my family, but they took my dad in jail still. And after that, we put so much pressure in America with media and with politicians and some of the celebrities, even with my teammates, you know, they had to let him go. So my dad was going in and out of jails and Turkish court for 7 long years. You know, and then after that, you know, Turkish government obviously revoked my passport. They actually put my name on Interpol list. Till this day, I still consider it as like an international criminal, and that is the craziest thing that we heard. You know, and then after that, things got really worse and worse every day for Turkey. the reason I'm telling you this story because there's a reason. The reason is, you know, you guys, many people knows my story because I play in NBA and my story is out there all the time. But there are so many innocent people are in the jail right now, are suffering, and their situation is way worse than mine. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to use my story to tell about all the innocent people's stories out there, and also try to be the voice of all those innocent people out there who don't have a voice. And if you look at what Erdogan is doing around the world right now, it is unacceptable, you know. So beginning of my conversation, I was talking about, you know, Tenkil Museum. That museum is so special to me because obviously when you say there are human rights violations are happening, I mean, you look at the world right now, almost over, you know, 50 countries out there, or around 50 dictatorships out there. So when you say there are human rights violations are happening in a country, there are many countries out there who's having that. But I feel like when you start, you know, bringing stories out there with objects, you know, when you, I mean, I was in there, I was just visiting the museum, and I saw a glass, I saw a glass, and I saw some other objects and passports and some other stuff that really touched my heart, because from behind every object there are thousands of words and maybe millions of stories. So to me it was so important to come here before talk, educate myself. I feel like if I'm not educated well enough, then I'm not going to be able to tell my story to everyone, especially my teammates. You know, I think I want to give a huge credit to my teammates actually, because they were my biggest supporter. I have 11 arrests. This is going to sound very crazy, but I have 11 arrests warning for me in 11 years. And that I played 11 years in the league, and throughout that 11 year, every of my teammates, every of my, you know, coach or a fan gave me so much support, and that actually gave me courage to talk about whatever I want to talk about. Even like some of the people were telling me like, dude, like, are you crazy? Your family's still there, you know, you haven't seen them for like 8-9 years now. Why are you still talking about these problems? But he needs to understand my family is only one. There are so many stories, so many families out there in jails right now getting tortured and maybe getting raped every day. So we have to stand up for those innocent people. And I want to say Erdogan policies is not only hurting the country, but it's hurting the countries around it. I mean, you look at what's happening right now in Greece, you see what's happening in Cyprus, and you see how Erdogan actually threatening the whole Europe with the refugee crisis. He is literally saying, if you don't listen to what I have to say, I'm going to let all 3 to 4 million refugees go to Turkey, and that is unacceptable. So my message to all the, you know, European leaders, Western leaders, or all the presidents out there, enough is enough, because we have to stop this soft talks with dictators, because then they are going to use it, you know. Other example I'll give you guys. You look at what's happening with America and Turkey right now. Turkey is asking F-16s and F-35s from America. At the same time, he's going and buying S-400s from Russia. You know, so it's a big hypocrisy. And also, you look at the war between Ukraine and Russia right now. You know, so Erdogan is going and trying to help Ukraine, but at the same time he's going and shaking hands with the most brutal dictators out there like China and Russia and Iran. So I think it's finally that we have to say enough is enough. I believe that, you know, the European Union, European Parliament, Western leaders in America needs to step in and say, listen, we need to prioritize human rights. There are so many political prisoners out there, so many journalists actually in jail right now suffering. Actually, this actually thing blows my mind, this facts. Turkey is the #1 country in the world that put most journalists in jail. Think about it. More than Russia, more than China. And that is the craziest thing I heard, and that is unacceptable. Also, sometimes whenever I sit down and have a conversation with one of the, you know, politicians, well, sometimes they say, well, Turkey is a NATO ally. I'll give you guys the facts. Erdogan is the Trojan horse for Putin in NATO. So you cannot trust Erdogan, you know. For that being said, Turkey is a NATO ally, but it does not act like a NATO ally. You see, there are so many human rights violations, so many political prisoners, so many innocent people are suffering right now. And he divided the whole country. Now, unfortunately, many groups hate each other, but I believe that the goal should be all the groups, all the movements, or whoever needs to, all the parties actually needs to come together to fight as one and fight against the dictatorship in Turkey. Whenever I talk about Turkey, sometimes people can get me wrong, but I want to tell people actually, I love my country, I love my flag, I love my people. The reason I'm fighting so hard for my country right now is because of I want to actually one day be able to go back to my country and see my family again. Last time I saw my family was like around 9 years ago, you know, and I'm the only with just one story. Turkey plays a very actually important role in our century because Turkey could have been the bridge of Islam and West, but just because of right now there is no freedom of speech, no freedom of religion, no freedom of expression, no freedom of protest, it is impossible. And I feel like someone, one of the the leaders needs to step in and say enough is enough, because the diplomacy with Erdogan never worked, soft talk with Erdogan never worked. Also, the other thing is, a lot of people are actually asking me about the elections in Turkey. So there are elections that are coming up in June 2023. So they said, well, what do you think about it? First, Erdogan controls the media in Turkey, so everyone is brainwashed already. So that reason I'm not really hopeful from the elections, because he's going to do whatever he can to win the elections. He's going to cheat, he's going to steal, so there is not going to be any fair elections in Turkey. Let me say that again. There is not going to be fair elections in Turkey. If there is a fair election in Turkey, Erdogan will lose, but I don't think there is going to be any fair elections. I think put all of this aside. What breaks my heart the most right now, just because of Erdogan's hate speeches, whenever he holds a rally, he has these hate speeches just because of he want to get more votes, he want to get more supporters. So what he does is, whenever he holds a rally in one of the cities, right, he attacks Greece, he attacks Israel, he attacks Jewish people, he attacks America, he attacks West. So if you are a kid and if you are seeing these hate speeches, you are automatically going to grow up as an anti-Semitic, anti-West, anti-American, anti-Greek, anti-Cyprus, because you're not going to know any better. Just because he wants to get more votes, he wants to be elected again, he's hating on these countries, and it is unacceptable. So that's why we have to step in, we have to do something. There are many groups in Turkey right now. You look at the Kurdish people, you look at Alevites, you look at seculars, you look at Gülen movement, you look at some other groups, other innocent groups. Just because of Erdogan's hate speeches, these groups got divided so much. What we need to do is we need to come together as one and fight as one, because if not, then Erdogan is going to win. So what we need to do is just focus on what we need to focus on and go out there and do what's good for the country. I mean, you look at other things right now. Unfortunately, the economy is going down. There's been so many terrorist attacks, and Erdogan, literally threatened the whole Europe. But I think what we need to do is the right thing. We need to go out there and to show the whole world that Erdogan doesn't mean Turkey, and he does not represent Turkish people. Turkish people are one of the most nicest, warmest, and kindest people that I know, and I'm sure you guys too, because this is Frankfurt and there are so many Turkish people here. So whenever we see one of the Erdogan's hate speeches on TV or internet or on rallies, he does not represent Turkish people. That's what we need to know. With that being said, I cannot give enough credit to the Tenkil Museum, because what they're doing is unbelievable, and I'm so happy that I came. Actually, number one thing is I came and educated myself. I came and learned, because I did not know enough. I did not know deeply enough about these conversations. I didn't know enough deeply about the stories and stuff. But now, whenever I go back, I'm going to be able to, have a better conversation with my teammates, better conversation with my coaches and the fans, because they ask me all the time. If you're not educated enough, you're not going to be able to answer those questions. I still consider myself a very proud Turk, because that's where my family came from, and that's where my family lives right now. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you guys so much. This is an amazing opportunity to be here, amazing opportunity to learn and actually get to know each other and actually learn about all this, mistakes. And actually, whenever I see these young kids, it gives me so much hope for the future, because if you want to have a better and brighter future, we have to educate our kids. So with that being said, thank you guys so much. I'm honored to be here. Thank you guys for coming, and love you all. Thank you.
Good.